Hello, I'm Jackson Bozeman, and this is my video review for chapters 3 and 4. So in chapter 3, we get into the early 1700s with the British North America. As you can see, the British North America had started to expand rapidly in their territories and populations, and all these colonies differed in purposes, some had religious freedom, like Rhode Island and Pennsylvania. Lots had plantations, like South Carolina, and Virginia. And then some were for expansion and trade, which was mainly like New York. A big thing with these colonies was the growth of slavery, especially in those Carolina and Virginia areas where they had plantations. Due to this expansion in slavery became very racial. It became solely African Americans as opposed to Native Americans as well. A lot of this due to the transatlantic slave trade, and race was kind of their way to justify slavery, because African Americans they were black, and they just were seen as lesser people to the colonizers, and so that was their way to justify enslaving people. During this time, the colonies developed complex colonial ties to the government in Great Britain, and they kind of disrupted the Native American societies a lot through war, and due to war, it caused lots of displacement, and that kind of started to destroy those Native American societies and start to wither them out. Like Philip's War, Bacon's Rebellion, the Yamasee War. Don't know if I'm saying that right, but those wars were big Native American wars that kind of just destroyed their societies, and then you get into chapter 4, and you start getting into that 1763 range, where the colonies had been more united and political than ever, going back to the development and the ties to the government in Great Britain. The colonies were kind of pushing towards that way, and they became very connected to the British trade and consumption. That was a big way that the king was making his money and making profit, was through trade and the consumption from the colonizers. They were also very dependent on slavery through the Atlantic commerce, like I said, the Atlantic slave trade. But at this time, the Proclamation of 1763 was made, as British taxation and control increased after the war, causing colonizers to want to move west into that open land, and kind of start their own lives. But because of the Proclamation of 1763, it was restricted. They weren't allowed to move west, and this caused high uprise inside the colonies, leading to thoughts of a rebellion, going into the American Revolution. So, thank you.